Division 1 slot. Drafts are out, Jonathan. What are you thinking about? In fact, hold that thought, because we might have a very early team fight to break out already. Aaron getting scouted out. Looks like he's going to be left alone. They could not hold him down. What do you think about the drafts?
It's an interesting draft. It's a bit different from what we've seen so far. I think I'd lean towards Outsiders. It just feels easier to execute for all the reasons Lizard mentioned, like Storm into Silencer and Puck. It takes a while for you to really feel comfy there. You're going to need a defensive item. You're going to need to angle into these fights very, very carefully as well. And you've always got some form of solution from Outsiders, especially as levels go up, as the game goes on. We've seen Silencers manage to rush that refresh just fine. Puck, when you hit 25, just handled Storm and covers all your bases pretty seamlessly. What we need to see from Poke with this kind of draft is maybe a little bit more tempo. Like they can get really aggressive with a combination of Snap and Clock with Underlord on top. There's a lot of play here that they have to get online.
Ranfu down. In fact, it's going to be Xiaoma that might be in danger, though. He's going to back off and Ranfu down. Now the one in danger is the orb. It's not going to land, but Echoes, he makes the jump in to get the first blood. That's a perfect start for the mid Puck. Much more than you could have asked for, as now Aaron might be in danger as well. They'll go for a bit of a chase. Averin outside. They'll get the curse off. Not going to be enough to kill off Aaron, but it's a hell of a lot of damage. Probably going to force a bit of a reset here from our Snap. In fact, yeah, he's just going to run back to the fountain. But that's a real perfect start. Like, you gave your mid laner the bonus gold for first blood. You couldn't really ask for much more.
Nah, it's an excellent start coming out for Echoes. And I like what he does here. He goes back into lane, just decides to eat up his tangos. He has his bottle all set anyway. So you can just regen through. Storm isn't much of a threat in the early few levels up against the Puck. I mean, it is a rather even matchup. There are ways for the Storm to outplay here, but overall, the Puck has more tools and a much more forgiving style of just standing in the back and clearing out the creep wave in comparison to the Storm. So Echo should just have that quick ramp up, should be able to spam out his spells with the early bottle. The interesting thing is going to be water rune control, whether or not the supports rotate around for the 2 and 4 minute rune. 2 minutes probably not, but 4 minutes is one that some supports go for, some don't. And in this matchup, that refill does play a big part in just sustaining this lane.
I mean, speaking of the supports rotating, like, both sides have very strong supports for those rotations as well. So I'd imagine that 4 minute mark is probably going to be a high contest point, as you definitely want to try and hand as many runes over as you can to these mid laners. And speaking of those mid laners, John, like, small KK right now 11 and 4 in CS. Compared to the 3 and 2 of Echoes, he's having a very strong time.
Yeah, it's a lot more low committal for small KK to clear out. He hits level 3, he's got the double overload to play with, although just static remnant plus overload is already a lot of wave clear in comparison to the Puck with just the orb. Not really going to be running up for the waning rift anytime soon. Small KK can just take control early on and just establish himself. If he finds a couple of extra hits onto Echoes, you feel great. And again, until someone comes in to that mid lane, we're not probably going to see any big opportunities from either mid solo until the level 6 marks.
Side lanes right now, XM having a decent time, but so is this Underlord. It's kind of one of the things, like, I thought Killer would have a lot more of a struggle here at the top lane mark. To be fair, XM only level 2 at the moment, so maybe that level 3 mark will be the time that they try to get aggressive. Because it is quite a strong duo, the Slark Silencer. But it's like XM, at least for now, wants to play a bit more of a passive laning stage. But as I said, I think level 3 is when XM might start to get a little bit more aggressive here and start really trying to stack up those essence shift stacks and get aggressive against this Underlord.
Yeah, I think it just comes down to respecting the output that can come out from Poke. Like, once you've got the value point in the pit, or even just setting up for the Firestorm with a cookie, it's a ton of damage onto XM. He's not the most durable hero in that lane when it comes to magic output as well. So you just kind of have to watch your spacing, and for the most part, you are still getting your farm. As long as you keep getting that build up, when you hit level 4, level 5 for XM, that's where the Slark can feel a lot better with more points in the Essence Shift or into Dark Pact. You can start to punish Killa. Until that point, when your Silencer, he doesn't have glaives to harass, right? You're coming in, you're getting Arcane Curse. If you don't really follow through, it's not going to do as much to shove these heroes out. They're not the most spell spammy as well. So you're not getting the most value out of harassing someone like Kill out, and he's more than comfy just standing there and copping a couple of hits and farming.
Right. And of course, we haven't really talked about the bot lane very much. You're going to have Lun Fur there on the position 1 laner. Still surprised this hero gets to be picked up by any team at the moment, but Lunfer does have it. Of course, Runfu Dao also there on the Pos 5 Clockwork, a very strong combination with the Lina. And you're going to have Xiaoma on the Tusk along with Ava against them. It's mid lane, bit of a rush here for the runes. Small KK going for a bit of a chase onto Echoes, but he can just orb right back into the mid tier 1 tower. That's the thing, like, this mid lane is still just favoring the Storm, and I believe it was Lizard who pointed out that it wasn't going to be an easy Storm game considering you are playing against a hero like Puck Silencer. But at least for the start, he's having a pretty darn good time.
And he is farming a lot better. Just allowed to clear the creep wave without too much punishment out, and he's even able to play with a double overload coming through it. Echo's just kind of walking up too close and copying extra hits. Pretty big wins for the Storm. We're not even seeing any supports come in. Rune control is a little bit better for Echoes. He did grab both water runes a while ago. So it's not as smooth going for small KK. At the same time, if he's not getting poked, then he doesn't really care too much about not getting the top up. If he can manage his lane just fine like this. Although power rune's going to be a bigger issue for both mids here.
Right. Pink's coming out onto Ava. He's going to be okay. Top lane, XM. He's going to be fine as well. Taking our observer for a ride here, just naming every lane. Always a very, very fun to see them suffer a little bit, John. Apologies to our observer, by the way. It happens, you know. I like to do that. Small KK mid lane could be in a bit of danger. Outside, gonna get silenced up. You've got the curse out as well as the last word, but is it gonna be enough damage? Not quite. Runfu Dao, he'll rotate to ensure they cannot chase for the kill. Won't be able to punish anyone for that. Although Ava TP's in, but he's a bit too late to the party. Though they do have that 5-minute siege creep, John. This is going to be a lot of damage to that tier 1 tower, and I love what Outsiders are doing here. They know the Storm's gone for at least a little bit. Glyph is forced out, but again, the siege creep is still well and truly protected. This is going to be a lot of damage. So the power runes are about to spawn up. It seems like it's going to be the bot side. The haste is going to spawn as Runfu down, trying to run. Echoes, he'll miss the orb, but a nice juke out on the scatter blast, and eventually the curse of Outside will take down the Clockwork. And that haste rune, it is still just sitting there. And the mid tier 1 tower is gone. Small KK, he denies it off at the least, but that is huge for Outsiders.
6.5 minutes, and Outsiders are just looking to play a real fast tempo. They understand with this lineup from Poke, you're looking at a lot of time to build up. Storm maybe doesn't need as much. It still doesn't feel the comfiest in this game without at least a defensive item up. And your Lina is definitely going to be sitting back and farming. And to an extent, so will your Underlord. Like we were talking about timings, like say Guardian Greaves coming up here, being very in the meta. It's not the quickest timing coming through here for Killa, considering his lane. I mean, he can still flash farm, but that's 3 heroes that will need maybe the 15-minute mark to get active. And your map's already shrinking before that point. And you still haven't seen, like, the full potential of Outsiders playing. We haven't seen the Dream Coil come out. You just hit level 6 now on Echoes, so you have that to play with. Your supports are still low level at this point as well. It's just setting up for Outsiders to really force a map issue and just prevent that build-up that you'd want on this lineup from Poke.
Right. Looking back down bot lane, like Lunfer still farming very effectively here on the Lina, which is not too surprising considering this hero has a major named after her right now, John, the Lina Major, coming up very, very soon. And well, just no stopping this hero. It's just too damn powerful at the moment. Can't wait to see what Valve does about it with the next patch. I imagine she's going to get dumpstered pretty hard. For now, though, 47-7 is the CS score of Lunfer, and well, he seems to be in for a good game, at least for now.
Now, he's still farming up. It's a little bit behind in comparison to XM, which is again a bit interesting considering that it felt like he had earlier presence coming out from Killa.
Small KK, he got that regen rune. That's very important for a Storm, but it may cost him his own life as they silence him up permanently. Killer trying to move in with the Fiend's Gate, could not get there in time, and now the chase is on for more. They'll at least try and find Xiaoma for their trouble. Xiaoma, he's going to run right back into him, but Nature's Wrath. That's a lot of damage flying out. Echoes, he's going to move in, a nice shot to block Killer in as well. Orb will fly through. Ava going to join into the party, and Killer. Oh, poor old Killer. He is the one being killed at the moment. Runfu Dao, he might drop as well, and he will. Even more kills to go the way of the side of Outsiders from China. And for Poke, I mean, John, it's pretty rough. They're yet to pick up a kill this game. It's looked like a tough one, I'm not going to lie.
0 to 5. A couple of things didn't quite line up there for Poke. I think the Scatter Blast that was out from Aaron missed on the Tusk. So Xiaoma just managed to walk out, wasn't slowed down, wasn't nuked down, and he managed to juke around. He was literally just stalling for time to let the rest of Outsiders come in, find a couple more freebies. And for the side of Poke, again, this map is just shrinking way too fast for their own good. Like, they are getting some D wards out now, getting some control back in their jungle at the very least, and trying to get that space out for Lanfur. But with how fast Outsiders can play this game, it raises the question just how much time Alina does need to be insane. Right? Like, it is an insane hero. It does not take too much farm, all things considered, to be online. But when you have a Storm and an Underlord as the other cores on hand, can you really have all of them align their power spikes at the same time when the map is just being nuked down by every single one? Like, literally every hero is just looking to farm right now in the jungle.
Jump in from Small KK. He's used most of his mana for this, and I don't know if they've really got the damage, but they do. With the Laguna, they'll get it done. Dreamcoil, though, is going to be committed. Echoes, do you have the damage to take down the Storm? Not with Lunfur around. They will not bother continuing here as Small KK able to survive through it. To a nice pick up there onto the Prophet, and that's actually going to be the first kill of the game here for Poke.
Yeah, it's a nice take. I do like seeing that Small KK is willing to show up for some activity, as he's their most mobile here right now until you get the hook shot up on Ranfu, so you don't have the best jump in outside of your Storm. But he knows he's got to do something to relieve that map pressure. And they're finding some punishment. You are still giving a pretty free lane out to XM. His Echo Saber is already flying out with his power treads. So your Slark is just set to grow bigger and bigger from this point onward. And Ava is still looking to shove in bot. Like, you're still lined up here with 3 heroes. They are under vision and they don't have Dreamcoil. So they're not going to press the issue as much. And this is time Poke needs. What times are we looking for even? We're looking at a Mage Slayer for Small KK. So maybe a Orchid along the way that as well. Have some control when you jump in. Level 6 Spike for Ranfu is almost there. And that will, again, allow a little bit more presence. You can connect with your kisses from Aaron. With some easy long-range kills can come true, especially since Global Silence isn't quite up for outside. And that's a little bit further away in comparison to the hook shot from Ranfu as well. There is a window here for Poke. Start getting activity out, but look at Outsiders. They just keep smoking. They just keep running.
Very nice scan there from Lunfur. Realizing something was a little bit awry, he does back off at the right moment. Smoke broken on Xiaoma. He's just going to TP back down to the bot lane where Outside's going to find himself in a spot of danger. Snowball back the way of the Snapfire, and well, with the Walrus Punch, they have got plenty of damage. In fact, Killer, he got blocked off. Oh, the shards block him off. He couldn't get back into the tree line. That's going to be a double coming out. XM picking up his first kill of the game on the Slark. And now the bottom tier 1 tower. It's just completely exposed. Without the Underlord, you cannot hope to defend this. And it is going to drop before he is able to respawn.
Yeah, there's no way. They know they can't quite hold. At the least, you get your mech up and running here on your Underlord, so there's a little bit more durability when he does show up next. And you are getting some much-needed space out for all the other cores. Like, Small KK is farming that top jungle, and he has wards to protect himself there. He's going to be able to back out before anyone comes in to punish. Although the Dreamcoil is ready with a DD here.
Oh, he snaps the coil, but you've got the hook shot into the Fiend's Gate now. Echoes could be in a spot of danger, but how do you lock this guy down? Thing is, you really can't without the Vortex, though KK is going to still try. Does get in there with the Pit of Malice. Maybe they've gone up, but Echoes trying to jaunt away. Does get it, but no. They do get the damage. So there's the answer to my question. Like, Vortex into the pit, you've got more than enough lockdown for the puck. Though it almost felt like he was about to get away, to be absolutely fair, but at the very least, a pretty big pick-off here for Poke.
Yeah, the side of Outsiders didn't quite commit the numbers, maybe not expecting that huge response out from the Fiend's Gate. A lot of heroes pouring through, you've got to be a little bit cautious, and you still have to respect that relocation potential coming out from the Underlord. So they drag the numbers in, they punish Echoes. He was feeling pretty confident with the DD. Again, without anyone else to back them up, not even SRF TPing in, your output just wasn't enough in that stun window. And you found a pretty good angle out with Ranfu on the hook. So there is still play left in Poke, despite that slower start. At this point, Outsiders are trying to farm up on Ava, trying to get into that point where he has Ags. XM also wants his Ags. It's only really Echoes that feels comfy running around with supports. and it just doesn't feel like the puck alone can take some of these bigger cores just by how tanky they can be at this point.
Oh, Echoes, hook shot, they've got the vision, they've got the follow-up, and they should have the kill. And they will. Nice shards though. Xiaoma gonna move in with the silencer. However, the damage isn't there. XM, he gets in. Lunfer's gone to boot. Oh, XM has joined the party. And he is just deleting everyone. Triple kill for the Slark. Sure, you got the mid-puck, but my god, it is at a hefty, hefty price.
That's a pretty interesting counterfight from Outsiders. They take it without having Global Silence up. They manage to jump in, they get this angle, they get the control. Very strong patience coming out from Xiaoma. He pumped the Walrus Punch, saved it for the Lina instead, seeing an angle into that low ground. And they get the punishment. So they drag the game back their way. And this time it's Poke that also overcommits. Kind of the same issue we saw from Outsiders last time, where you didn't really respect the fact that it's near a tier 1. Outsiders are relatively close to the area. They get a bit trigger happy with a hook shot.
Well, Xiaoma's gonna die. At the very least, they do find themselves a cheeky little tusk kill there for small KK. I mean, my problem is, John, this XM Slark, like, he's got Ags now. This is when the Slark just feels really darn powerful.
Yep. And you tie that in with Ava's Ags. I want to say that the Nature's Prophet Ags is actually the bigger key of control. It's such a low committal route to apply onto a Storm. A global route that applies onto a Storm. That's not going to be too fun for small KK. He doesn't have anything defensive. Again, he rushed a Mage Slayer. He's going for a Kaya into the BKB. He's not going to have any counterplay to just that 60-second global spell.
Global Silence, mid lane, looks like they are trying to make the move in onto the Storm Spirit. Small KK trying to survive, but the leash is there with the Dream Coil. He cannot get out of it. Aaron still trying to run. XM has another pounce charge if he wants it. Just trying to line it up perfectly and does get it. Run Fu Dao. He's gonna hook in, but what's the point? Dark Pact was there. Run Fu Dao still trying to run. XM with the Dark Pact able to survive. Oh, they threw everything but the kitchen sink at the kitchen sink at the Slark. Even Lunfer's Courier not going to be able to survive the onslaught. And Outsiders 4-12 now, 5k advantage, 5 free permanent agility to the way of the Slark. And it seems like maybe they can start slowly setting up for the top tier 1 tower. I mean, why the hell not?
There's not much that can stop them. And for the side of Poke, they just need so much more to get going. They find Killer here. Echoes is by himself. Not sure if he really wants to fully commit. They will have Rat of Nature in a bit, though.
It's pretty tough, but they are going to try. Just chip away. There's your Entangle coming out. In fact, never mind. It's not that tough. So Echoes backs off. Okay, so maybe a bit of miscommunication here between Ava and Echoes. Small KK, to be fair, was around the area. Meanwhile, on the backside, Xiaoma has found our Snapfire, and he will drop. Aaron's gone. XM to pick up another kill on the Slark. I suppose you still get something for your trouble, like more Agi, a Snapfire kill. Sure, you don't get the Underlord, but let's be honest, John, Killer's not really having any impact right now anyway. Doesn't really matter if he survives.
That is the thing with Underlord, right? It's this highly durable wave-clearing menace in the offlane. You can really do some interesting things with Fiend's Gate, although that's not really something we've seen people plan around. They do jump Echoes, at the least.
As I say, he's having no impact. He's gonna find a puck kill. Lovely.
I mean, it's still tricky for the Underlord to have that much forward presence, right? Like, the Pit of Malice is great, but when it comes down to really setting up, like, sometimes you find angles like that onto the puck. It's much more consistent to playmake off your Storm and really your Clockwork, right? Like, these are your main jumps in. Your Underlord is more for your follow-through control to ensure that you can get some of these pickoffs. And it's very item dependent. It's a durable hero, but it's mainly an aura carrying hero. The Guardian Greaves are up, so that does boost your EHP by a significant amount here for Poke, and that should allow them to take some forward fights. I just feel like when we see Underlord utilized the best is when you can play around Fiend's Gate and take these really awkward smoke angles. Like, we've seen it before, smoke Fiend's Gate into backline in a tree line and just get these ambush plays. It's not something that Poke has really shown off, but if they can get some vision control and start to ambush Outsiders this way, keep finding these pickoffs, they can certainly drag it back. Although,
Hookshot, Xiaoma gonna get caught, but the global silence was immediate, so there's no follow-up, and Killer already almost getting destroyed here on the Underlord. Is able to get away, but the pounce is in from XM. He'll catch the Underlord once again. And now another pounce. They've got Xiaoma on the leader. He's already popped that BKB, trying to go after XM, but it's not going to be enough. And now they even found small KK. At least XM does go down, but it's such an expensive cost. 5 for the price of 1. Nobody else but XM dying in all of this. And it's a full team wipe. It's the mid-tier 2 tower now to drop.
That's the thing. XM holds his ground. He stays really confident. He knows his team will back him up and clean up afterwards. You find the big trades you want. You're still stalling out these 2 big farming cores, and you get a push because Ava's untouched. SRF can just focus in on that push with the treants up. He has that casual Blightstone, and we'll pretty soon have a full Desolator to just melt that process, although he is going for the Maelstrom first. And for the side of Poke, we need to see them be the aggressors. Like, they were in a pretty good position. It's just not the ideal, as there were way too many backups from outsiders. They need to jump outside first. The key target has to be the silencer. If you take him out, you're in a much better position for small KK to get the zip onto other heroes, to get that initial control, get the follow through from Killa. But that's all easier said than done. For the most part, Outside has been positioning himself way outside these fights too.
Certainly has. Poke, I mean, their backs against the wall right now. AK behind, they need to have some kind of team fight go their way. We talked about how strong this laner is, but Lunfer is just so far behind on the laner at the moment. Yet to pick up a kill as well. 0-2 and 3 is the kill score for Lunfer. It just seems like the pressure's not going to end up slowing down at all, as outsiders have started pushing down the bottom tier 2 tower. Poke are going to try and meet in the middle, try to go after Outside on that silencer, and they are going to find him, but the Dream Call is there. Last word out, they might have a storm now as the Walrus Punch comes in Outside. He's just walking away. Small KK ends up going down. Hook shot from Ranfu down, doesn't even connect onto Outside, and here comes XM. Oh, this is the guy you don't want to run into right now. He is just going to clean up. Call him the janitor. He's just cleaned up the mid lane, and they're into the Roshan pit.
The ridiculous thing again about that fight is Outside doesn't even have to pop Global Silence. On cooldown at the start of the fight, goes off cooldown, but the Storm's already dead. And they have this big teamfight spell still left over. Like, Poke, I appreciate that they're trying to get aggressive. It's just not coming out all too well. They just lack this instant burst right now, especially if they don't have Lonfer in a position where he can just instantly Laguna. And I want to divert this onto a talk about Nature's Prophet Ags. This is really among the dumbest Ags. And I've had this position for a while, like 4,260-second cooldown global entangle with, with your scaling damage coming off as well on every bounce. It's kind of dumb. And you can see how well it does here. It's such great control for you to have this Slark pounce around, make use of that long-range global route to just clean up with his own Ags. So this double Ags just synchronized so well.
Another fight to break out, perhaps. Hookshot off the mark here onto Xiaoma. Now the Entangle does come in. Small KK going to try and fight, but the Global Silence will come in as well. Xiaoma, somehow still alive, finally goes down. But that takes 5 heroes to get that done. At least they know the Global Silence is down, however. You might be forced to just smoke up and fight now. Like, you have the numbers advantage. You know Global Silence is down. This is probably the best opportunity Poker's had all game.
Yeah, it's a big win. They didn't have to expend too much either, just a hook shot. So they could try to clump up and keep forcing an issue. They will try on the bot tier one, which isn't the biggest objective in the world. At least they'll get a little bit more map control, maybe invade that triangle a little bit more effectively, and sneak away some ancient camps if they want to for some farm. It is getting harder and harder to deal with the heroes on Outsiders. So like XM, so far ahead, has a BKB up and running. You have nothing to really hold him through that. You don't have any spell immunity, piercing stun. He's got the Shadow Dance and Depth Shroud. Even if you manage to jump all these heroes, if XM just has a +1, I don't think you're ever going to kill him. Like, he's just way too slippery in this game.
Yeah, he certainly is. And he's even going for a Mage Slayer now, so you've got even more durability to come, and we'll look at that. They found Ranfu now. XM will say thank you very much. In fact, Echoes is the one to take it. But you still get the consolation prize of the free Agi here for XM. That'll be 7 to 23, 13k advantage the way of Outsiders from China. Going back to your point as well about the Nature's Prophet Aghanim Scepter, man. I gotta agree with you. Like at first I thought, it is what it is, but the more you see it, the more ridiculous it gets. Like at max, in fact, hold that thought, because bottom lane, or rather top lane, Lunfer does get caught out, though they are gonna at least stun up the Slark, but he does get the Shadow Dance in time, so you are not gonna be able to turn back around. As I was saying though, the thing that bothers me about this Aghanim Scepter is not so much like how much damage it does, but just how much entangle time it does. 3.8 seconds at max level is bottom lane. Ooh. Snowball is there. Hook is way off the mark again. Outside still running away, though a nice pit of malice from Killer. Yeah, he does. And with that, the Storm is going to be in trouble again. Meanwhile, XM still finding more kills as they do find the Global Silence out. The Underlord just trying to get through. The Fiend's Gate should make it, but no. Oh, they had the orb. Run Fu Dao, the only one left in the area, is going to drop. It's just so sad, man. Like, you're just trying to get this Pos 5 Silencer kill, and you can't even get that. Run Fu Dao. I mean, I don't want to pick on the guy, John, but he's missed quite a few hooks now. It's one of those things with a clockwork. It's almost like a pudge, right? Like, you miss a couple hooks and then suddenly you miss every hook.
Yeah, it can be a cascading effect. And that was their perfect position as well. Like, our silencer was alone for the most part. Oh boy.
You know those teammates that go to the tier 4 towers and try to throw spells out when everyone else is dead and the Rax is being taken? That's what Lunfer just did. A little bit too early, and speaking of... Yeah, he got the lead. Yeah, GG.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't blame them. I was literally just about to ask when they're going to call XM. He's too much of a monster. But Outsiders from China,